And welcome everybody to this week's exciting episode.
You want a pig heart? You want this one here? You want this pig heart right here? I want that one. I like skitty and butter. South Park reference.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't actually know what that was. I just thought I'd make a pig sound over the top.
I actually thought that went well with it, to be fair. It actually...
Did it sound like the episode, or was it more...
It was more like that, but you know what? It still adds a little bit of ambience there. So
Yeah, okay.
I don't mind. I think that's good.
Yeah. Well, you always do these intros on your own. I thought I'd back you up.
Yeah, I like that. From now on, chuck in the occasional bit of background music, and I think...
Background music? What, me snorting?
Yeah, background sounds. Yeah, I think that's good. It works well.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. How have you been? You all right?
Tired. I think today is going to be one of those days where it gets to like 6 p.m. and I'm going to already wish it was like 9 o'clock because I'm going to be on the sofa like, no, I'll wake up.
Yeah.
But it's just been one of those. But I'm on holiday next week, so, all good.
Yeah, can't complain with that. Getting to holiday mode.
Yeah.
One thing we did forget to address last week in the No Subject episode.
Oh, what was that?
We obviously had a few comments and things and about the paid advertisement for certain guests.
Oh, yeah.
We never touched on it, but I thought it'd be important just to mention that it wasn't a paid advertisement.
No, the hair episode. It was not paid advertisement. He was just a good friend of mine that I thought I'd help out by.
Yeah, and some people found the episode interesting, and I got the consensus by the comments and things. I think some people have spoken and we've listened, and they're a little bit fed up with guests. So,
we've got no guests planned for the foreseeable future anymore.
We had a chat about it, and yes, to all those that were complaining, we're going to take a break on guests for a while and just have classic Josh and Pirate and Josh, Posh and Gyrate.
Yeah. As terrible as that is. Some people like it.
Yeah. So going forward, that's the plan.
Stick to the classic Paranormality, our formula.
Yeah. And we've also had quite a bit of like interest in some of our older subjects. So don't be surprised if we revisit and there's like a mysterious part 2 of some things pop up.
Might be.
Stuff like that, because we have had interest, and it's what Toomsy said, wasn't it? Where sometimes they'll listen to a podcast of ours and then think, oh,
it really wants I want to butt in and say something, but I can't.
Yeah. So look out for that as well. So we got some things coming.
Yeah. So what have we got on the cards this week then, Josh?
Well, today, my friend.
Sorry, I'm already looking at your notes there, and I can see a list of words that you are never in a million years going to pronounce.
Yeah. I've made it exceptionally hard for myself.
You really have
this week. Yeah, I'm going to give it my best. I even had to practice read some of these names not names, but words, because I wanted to get it as close to being right as I can.
Okay.
I mean, obviously in an English accent, these aren't going to sound right, but I'm also not going to do them in a Japanese accent because that's also not right. I mean...
I probably shouldn't.
No,
it's going to slip out sooner or later, though.
It's such a grey area. It's but today we are doing Japanese mythology and folklore.
How does that keep happening?
Yeah, every time we do a folklore episode,
with this strange music sound.
Yeah. It's enchanting. I like it. Well, in Josh fashion, I've got my notes backwards. So I started writing stories of mythology, and then I found there was actually a little bit of history towards...
there's actually history in Japan, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would have thought with all their traditions there was actually some decent history there?
Yeah. You'd have thought there'd be at least a couple of 100 years, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Some of them thousands of years. Yeah. So I'm going to read the history first, and then I've got 5 of the most famous folklore stories, I guess.
Paranormal ones, obviously.
Yeah, some of them actually are paranormal.
Oh, good.
Some
Good.
of them are. I wouldn't say silly because obviously it obviously means more in Japan than it does to
Yeah, I
us.
would
But
imagine that.
to us English folk and Americans and the Western culture, some of it might seem a little bit silly and far fetched, but it's just different cultures.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Of course.
So,
It's...
and then we've got a little game I'm going to play with you at the end.
All right.
So let's dive in anyway.
Yeah, dive in.
So Japanese folklore was traditionally separated into a number of distinct varieties.
Oh, here comes the list. All right,
Here we go.
on. Do you want a drum roll?
So Tales of Long Age is known as Mukashi Banashi.
Well done.
Yeah. Sad stories in mythology are known as Namida Banashi.
Yep.
Ghost stories are known as Ombake Banashi.
Obaki Banashi. Obaki Banashi.
It gets worse.
Sorry, carry on.
It's stories of kindness. This is the one. So
Right,
stories
yeah.
of kindness. Ongo Shibanashi.
Yeah, well done.
Witty stories. Tonshi Banashi.
Nice.
Funny stories. Warai Banashi.
Warai Banashi.
Stories of greed. Yoku Bari Banashi.
Well done. I'm guessing Banashi means story then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of broken down into different varieties and sections, which
Yeah.
I thought was really cool
Yeah?
because I think most countries just have one or two stories. You know, like we've touched on Irish folklore before, and you've
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
leprechauns, and it's just one or two. Whereas with Japan, I'm telling you now, there is hundreds of stories. I've just gone for the most 5 like famous ones
Right,
that have
okay.
stood the test of time. That
Yeah.
Western society might have heard of some of them, but there is hundreds. Like you could do a 5-parter on Japanese folklore, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, you probably could.
So, Japanese mythology also draws on ancient historical texts such as the Kojiki, which is the oldest recognized book of myths, legends, and history of Japan. Some folk tales and mythology were inspired by 2 prime divine beings, Izangi and Izanami, who gave birth to the islands and created the lands of many gods and goddesses.
Right, okay.
And it also comes from, I want to get that right, a lot of the stories have influence from Shintoism and Buddhism.
Yeah.
And some stories also come from other stories that are based in India and China. So there's a crossover there as well. They have some of the same mythology.
Yeah, well, I think, isn't Buddhism originally maybe Chinese, is it, I think?
I think it is.
Japan have like adopted it into part of their culture as well, obviously over many, many centuries.
And I actually didn't know about Shintoism until I was well into my teens. Like as a kid, I always wondered, like when you're doing religious studies and things, I always wondered what like Asian countries believed in, like because it seemed silly to me back then. You know, I'm talking when I'm like 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
I always thought like, well, they can't be Christian, they can't be Catholic, like what? And I never really knew about Shintoism until I was much older.
Yeah, no, I guess I didn't either, I suppose, yeah.
So
It's not something that you tend to get taught about in school over
It's
here.
really
though,
not,
in
is it?
England, is it? So
no. And then at some point, I always just thought, oh, they must all be like Buddhists, but
no. But then I suppose, well, Shintoism particularly, there's not many people in Western culture that really know that much about it. Because, like you say, it's based on a lot of mythology that Westerners just don't understand.
yeah, pretty much.
So, you know, it's not really worth teaching to school kids because they're just going to ask loads and loads of questions that the teachers aren't going to know the answers to.
Yeah, and with Japanese mythology, there always seems to be like a actual real nice life lesson.
Yeah.
So some of the stories might sound a little bit ridiculous, but when you look at it from a certain perspective, you're like, well, actually, they're just spreading the word or having an actual life lesson that Western culture still goes by.
Same with like manga cartoons and stuff like that, though, isn't it? Usually they've got quite a lot of like a deeper meaning to them.
Yeah,
and it's just sort of visually conveyed. in a way that they understand in their culture, and we just see it as a cool story with lots of guns and stuff. But it's to them, it's a whole much deeper meaning.
I'm going to get sidetracked already, but just a side story. My friend Alex, who requested the Kurt Cobain thing, I mentioned him last week or the week before. I asked him once, because he's really into like Japanese anime, manga, all of that stuff. I said to him once, "What's the weirdest Japanese like anime that you can think of?" And instantly he told me where there's this anime where there's this professional, I can't remember if he's a boxer or a cage fighter, but he's like rising the ranks. He's going to be champion or whatever. And he wakes up one day and his punching arm has turned into a Japanese schoolgirl.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
And I'm guessing the life lesson there is, like, what does he do? If he continues to fight, he's obviously going to hurt the girl. Or does he stop fighting and live a life of peace? And it was bizarre.
What's normally his strongest appendage is turning into his greatest weakness.
Yeah. So again, like, there's just life lessons that you're like, what? Like, but the fact that he came out with that so quick, I was like, that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard of, to be honest. But there you go. It's just different strokes for different folks. So traditionally, Japan had storytellers that would travel across the country from village to village to tell their tales with illustrations on kamashiba paper.
Kamashibai. Yeah.
Kamashibai. I didn't mean to do that. Kamashiba.
And you thought I was going to be doing that all episode.
It just doesn't sound right in an English accent.
It doesn't.
Japan actually also has a long and rich literacy history, and is even credited with the world's first novel, The Tale of Genji.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's pretty much all I got on the history of it.
Okay.
So I'm going to...
That's all of Japan's history. There we go. There.
Yeah, kind of the history of mythology. There's so much to it. Let's go for this one. We're going to go for Momotaro, who it translates to Peach Boy.
Right, naturally.
This is, I would say, on par, if not the most famous Japanese folklore story.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
So
people of Japan, get ready to point out where Josh goes wrong.
Yeah. They'll probably be like, "Oh no, you've got that completely wrong." But
all of one listener that we have over there.
So Momotaro, or Peach Boy, was born from a giant peach. And I know what you're thinking already. Is this just James and the Giant Peach?
It literally was.
It's not, no. I thought that as well when I started reading it. The peach was found floating down a river by an old childless woman who was washing her clothes in the river. The woman and her husband discovered the child when they tried to open the peach to eat it.
Right.
The child explained that he had been bestowed by the gods to be their son. The couple named him Momotaro. Momo means peach, and Taro means eldest son.
Okay.
When he was just 5 years old, he was able to cut a big tree with just an old knife.
Got magical powers then.
Oh, yeah. A lot of even toddlers and babies in this have extreme power.
Oh,
You'll
fair
see.
enough.
When he matured into adolescence, Momotaro left his parents to fight a group of Oni, which are known as demons and ogres. So there's the paranormal part of it.
Okay, yeah.
On his journey to Demon Island, Momotaro befriended a talking dog, monkey, and pheasant, who agreed to help him in his quest in exchange for some of his food, primarily dumplings.
Dumplings?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they only worked for him for dumplings.
Oh, yeah, because foxes are... Was it? No, not a fox, a dog. Dogs and monkeys.
A talking dog, a monkey, and a pheasant.
And a pheasant. Yeah, pheasants are definitely well known for eating dumplings, aren't they?
Yeah, they love it. At the island, Momotaro and his animal friends penetrated the demon's fort and beat them into surrendering. They returned home with the demon's plundered treasure and the demon chief as a capture.
Ooh.
The story of Momotaro was popularized due to the story being printed in school textbooks during the Meiji period, which is 1868 to 1912. And it's where Western ideas were changed. So at this period in time, this is when Japan started getting more modern and
Western influence started taking hold in Japan. Okay,
which is what the Meiji period is. Because remember I said that sometimes I do research and I think I better research that because Pirate might ask me, "Oh, what's the Meiji period?"
Yeah.
And I researched that, and you weren't bothered. So, in case you were wondering,
I was more wondering how they actually captured this demon and what they used to imprison him.
I think it was just the super strength of this
the dog and monkey and pheasant.
Yeah. Teamwork was the winner. On that day.
Yes, of course.
And during the Edo period of Japanese history, I'm glad you asked. All right, this is 1603 to 1868. So this is before the Meiji period.
Before the westernized culture started taking hold over there.
Yeah, and
so
this
is all still like turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I think so.
You're not wrong there because it was mainly when they focused on music and arts. That was that period. So yes, famously that song. So Momotaro was born naturally to the elderly couple, but it was thanks to the peach that they regained their youth.
So of course.
The story changed from
young as a peach.
Yeah.
Looking peachy.
During the Edo period, the story slightly different. So.
Okay.
So that's that story, Momotaro. That's the most famous one.
So sorry, which period was that story actually from? The Meiji or the Edo?
So the one that everybody knows to this day is the Meiji period. So that was he was born out of the peach.
Okay.
It was just the story before that is exactly the same, but the only thing that's different is during the Edo period, which is before the Meiji period. They believed that he was born naturally to an elderly couple.
Right, okay.
But
and
they
rejuvenated their health. Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
So it was an earlier story than the Meiji period. Yeah.
Dates back to 1603.
Cool. Wow.
So the peach gave him powers. We've done the Japanese brief history there. Yeah. So I'm going to, in no particular order, that I'm not saying that one story is more famous than the other. I'm just going to go through them now. Mm-hmm. So we've done the most famous. Now this one, this is more paranormal. I think you'll like this one. So we're going to go focus on the Yuki Onna, which translates to snow woman or snowfall witch.
Yuki Onna.
Yuki Onna.
This isn't the woman with the.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I think it's a very similar name.
It is a very similar name. With the mouth that slits open.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, do you know that one?
This one is basically an ice spirit. So she has an icy breath that freezes her victims to death.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there's a couple of very short stories about her. So one story is that a beautiful woman came to visit a man and became his wife from the woman's own desire. This woman was reluctant to go into a warm bath or have a warm shower, and when she was made to go away, she disappeared, leaving only thin, fragmented, floating icicles.
Oh.
Again, I don't know what it means.
Is that it? That's the entire story?
Yeah, it's just a little story of...
Oh.
The second
kind of an
better.
anticlimax.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I've got this one, which is slightly better. Again, just as short, but the ice spirit that would visit houses with chimneys and ask to heat up by the fire. When it got to late at night, she would try to leave the house to continue her journey through the night, and the old man would attempt to take her hand to stop her because, obviously, middle of the night.
What are you doing going out there in the middle of the night, woman?
It's frozen out there. You don't want to go out there. And then when he would touch the hand, she would turn into ice cold and into a whirl of snow and disappear.
Oh.
So that's Yuki Onna.
Gone with the wind.
Yeah, Snow Witch.
Oh, it's the same story, but like different version of it, is it? Okay.
I just thought it was worth mentioning. There's actually quite a few stories of the Yuki Onna. I just wrote down a couple. But I found a page that probably had like 6, 7, 8 of them. That was just different little short stories.
Many people got visited by the Yuki Onna.
Yeah, I suppose I would have it down as the equivalent of maybe like Slender Man, like a little bit of a mystery, you know, like living in the woods, and some say he's evil, some say he's good, some say, you know, he's just a character.
Know that Slender Man all came from a computer game, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's like it's got a bit of a mystique about it, hasn't it? A bit of a mystery.
Yeah, it's turned into a urban legend, I suppose. That's what this is, I suppose. The Yuki Onna is an urban legend, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So it is a bit like Slender Man. I couldn't think of another example, kind of like Slender Man. In a way.
No, it's an easy one to hook onto.
The Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman.
Yeah. So now we've got this one. This one you might have actually somewhat seen, maybe in pictures or paintings.
Ooh.
Do you remember ever seeing like a traditional Japanese painting or drawing of a baby holding a giant carp? It's quite a kind of famous image.
Honestly, remember a baby holding a giant carp? No, I've seen plenty of pictures of carp.
Yeah. Not even like a man holding a giant carp, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, people holding carp. I didn't necessarily associate it as a baby though.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, maybe that's just either bad artistry or my interpretation of that artistry. I don't know.
Well, that man wrestling that carp is called Kintaro, and he is the Golden Boy.
Oh, right, okay.
This is actually based on a real story, like a real person.
Oh, this is actually a true-to-life story, then?
Some of the things that happen, you could probably question whether they actually happen.
A Hollywood-style true-to-life story.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to break it down, there was probably a normal man without magical powers that this story is based on.
That was called Kintaro.
Yeah. But the real person this is based on is Sakata Kintoki.
Okay.
That's the real person. And I'm pretty sure he was a samurai. So this is based off
Everyone was
another
a samurai
myth.
back then in the day, weren't they?
So born with superhuman strength, he was raised by a mountain witch on Mount Ishigara. He was created by a clap of thunder sent from a red dragon called Rajin.
Right.
As a toddler, he was the size of a sumo wrestler.
Bloody hell.
And made friends with lots of animals, and even learned their languages and could talk and speak to all of the animals. So he was like Dr. Dolittle.
Sakata Doolittle.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. His prized possession was a hatchet and was able to smash rocks into pieces, uproot trees with his bare hands, and bend tree trunks like they were twigs. Kintaro had many adventures, fighting demons, beating bears in sumo wrestling, and helping the local woodcutters bring down trees with ease.
With his bare hands.
Yep, bare hands. He met a samurai. Oh, so he'd done all that, by the way, when he was a toddler. So
right,
He was like 5 years old when he'd done all that.
No actual mention of a samurai sword at this point, then?
No. So here's the bit. So he met a samurai, trained in martial arts, and retired in Kyoto. And he actually changed his name. And that is when he retired and became a samurai.
Right.
So as he grew up and became an adult.
That was his retirement from being a juvenile sumo wrestler, tree fella.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
as you do. Yeah.
And that is based on a true story. And I would argue that this could potentially be the most famous story, or on par with the other one, because there is statues, books, anime comics, toys, and even special candy based off of Kintaro.
Okay.
They have basically a festival for him, and on May 5th every year it's known as Children's Day, and rooms are filled with dolls and toys of Kintaro, so children will grow up big and strong like he did.
Oh, actually, that rings a bell. Yeah, I think, no, that does ring a bell. I think I've vaguely heard of that before, but about the Kintaro, Children's Day or whatever, yeah.
I think a lot of people, if they type in Kintaro into Google or any other search engine, the image that
There'll
pops
be a lot
up,
of Google images there.
it's him with a carp, wrestling a carp, holding a baby carp. there's so many variations
Got a
of
bear in a headlock.
it. Possibly, yeah. But that's quite impressive for a toddler to wrestle a bear.
Beating it with a tree.
We're going to get on to... I think we should go for this one, because this is... there's two really good ones that I should... Yeah, go on then. I'll do this one, and then I'll save, in my opinion, the best story for that. I don't know. It's hard, because one of them's more silly, but
Just
the
pick
other one... Let's go for... I mean, the pressure is on. You know what? Let's go for the Kappa.
Okay.
We'll go for the sillier one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a Kappa by the toe. Do they have a toe? Let's find out.
I think they do. So Kappa, known as river tiger or horse puller. And this is where I was saying about the dangers. Well, not the dangers. So there's life lessons behind different mythology.
Yeah.
This one is the dangers of water to children.
Oh, okay.
So
Fair enough.
this whole mythology is based off of trying to keep children out of currents and rivers and dangerous waters.
Yeah, yeah.
So Kappa can become harmful when they are not respected as gods. They are typically depicted as green, human-like beings with webbed hands and feet and turtle-like shells on their backs, a depression or dish on their heads that retain water, and if this is damaged or its liquid is spilled or drying up, the Kappa is severely weakened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. Fair enough.
So if you can imagine...
So they got to walk along very, very carefully then, not tilting their heads to the
Yeah.
left or right. Otherwise, they're severely weakened.
Yeah, they're scary-looking things. The Kappa are known for loving cucumbers and love...
That's probably not a sentence I would have written down.
Yeah. They love cucumbers and they love...
Get the cucumber love.
Yeah. What they're doing with those cucumbers is no one's
We
business.
don't want to know.
But they also love to engage in sumo wrestling.
With cucumbers.
Possibly. It's not me to say or judge. So, they are often accused of assaulting humans in water and removing a mythical organ called the Shiriokodama, which is found in the human anus.
Okay. Which
Yeah.
resembles a cucumber.
Maybe. So they're mischievous little buggers. Now, festivals of cucumber as offerings to the Kappa. And traditionally, family members would write names on cucumbers and send them downstream to prevent harm to the families.
Oh,
So
right, yeah,
I
yeah,
assume
yeah.
the Kappa would say, "Oh, there's my favourite delicious snack. Oh, it's
I'll leave that family alone because
Yeah.
they've written their name on a cucumber.
they've given me this lovely peace offering." So,
Now I'm going to stuff this somewhere.
yeah. Fun fact: there is a sushi roll out there that is just cucumber in the middle of rice and seaweed, and that is called kappamaki.
Okay.
Kappamaki,
Yeah.
and that is named after the Kappa.
No, fair
Because
play.
they loved
What
cucumbers.
is the name of your drink today?
That would be Kappamaki mint and lime.
Aqua Libra. Yes. Yeah, you have cucumber in your drink.
I do, specifically for this.
Oh, fair play. So you pay homage to the Kappa.
Yeah. That's why I've gone for the green
A
headband.
watery cucumber drink.
That's a tongue twister.
It is. I didn't really get it right myself.
Now we're on to the last story.
Here it is.
Urashima Taro, and this is by far my favourite one. So I think it's pretty good. So a fisherman who was fishing away on the beach, on the docks, and he ends up rescuing a turtle from a group of teenagers and kids who are being very horrible to the turtle.
Poor turtle.
So the turtle,
His name was Raphael
or Donatello,
or Michelangelo.
there's a few turtles to choose from. But this one was a
There's
female
4.
turtle.
Yeah. Okay.
And the female turtle carried him on her back to the Dragon Palace beneath the sea. And how were
Always wanted
they?
to visit there.
How were they able to do this? I hear you ask.
Oh, with a diving suit, I'll bet.
Oh no, my
No.
friend! The turtle gave him gills.
Oh, naturally, because turtles have gills as well, don't they?
Yeah. So the turtle granted him the wish of gills, and there he was entertained by Princess Otomi, and Princess Otomi lived in the Palace of the Dragons. And you're looking at that like I've said it wrong.
To me, it looks like Otohima.
Do you speak Japanese? How do you know that's not Otomi?
To me, it looks like Otohima.
Well, we'll meet in the middle. Otohime. Now, Princess Otomi. I don't know what Otohima.
Let's call her Otto.
Otto, yeah. Princess Otto. She lived in the Dragon Palace with her father, who was the emperor. And Urashima Taro, I'll just say Taro. Taro lived with Princess Otto. That's even more confusing because it doesn't go with my notes, but I'm going to press on. He spends what he believes to be 3 days with the princess in this palace. But he gets a bit homesick and he says, I need to leave. It's been great. Thank you for the lovely 3 days.
I can't do my normal fishing from down here. I need to be up on the bank to cast my line.
Yeah, he wasn't surrounded with friends and family. He only had Princess Otto, and he thought he wanted to go back to his old life. So he goes to return, but as he leaves to get back on the turtle's back to then go back ashore, she gives him a lovely jewellery box and says, whatever you do not open this. This is forbidden. You will regret it. Do not open it. This is just a gift for you to look at to remind you of me.
It's kind of a bit like Pandora's box then, I guess.
Oh, maybe that's where it came from. Maybe. Who knows? So then he returns to his home village and he discovers it wasn't 3 days, it was 300 years.
Wow.
Every day was 100 years that he had been gone.
Quite a mythological thing to happen, isn't it?
Now, upon this discovery, everyone he knew was gone.
Dead. Gone.
They were gone.
Yeah. He hasn't even got any kids.
No, nothing.
No. Well, did he have kids to start with?
No.
Who knows? So, no family members left.
No, so
no friends.
He thought, well, I've got nothing now, so I might as well just open the box. I wonder what's in here. And that's when he discovered that inside the box was his youth. Oh. So he instantly aged.
How did he find that out?
The princess.
The princess?
Yeah.
Which she appeared in the box and told him.
I think she might have popped up as a turtle and been like, oh, that was your age. I don't know.
Right, okay. So and then he just instantly gained 300 years and died?
Yeah.
What a happy ending that is.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is don't go under the water with turtles.
Throw more.
If you see a turtle's head showing, don't jump on it.
Don't save a turtle. If anything, buy more 6-packs of beer and throw the ring pulls into the ocean. Or get some plastic straws from eBay, chuck them in the ocean as well, because they like to go up the noses. It's not a very happy ending, but I thought it was quite a cool story. Just a couple little notes before we get into a little bit more, because we are pressing on for time a bit. Tono is Japan's city of folklore. That is where a lot of the stories are from.
Tono.
There is also a little bit of real life mythology with Japan that has inspired stories. So you've got Jomonsugi, which is a 7,200-year-old tree that has been dated. It's been proven.
I can believe it, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of 5 of the oldest trees in the whole world.
Yeah, I can believe it.
They've also got Rabbit Island, where there is just an island that is filled with rabbits, and they're not sure how it became so infested with rabbits.
Captain Cook, I'll bet.
It's a tourist spot.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I have heard of that.
Well, Rabbit Island?
Yeah, Rabbit Island, yeah. They don't encourage people to feed the rabbits.
Oh.
No, it was used... Oh, crikey. It was like some experimental place. I think it was like a nuclear experimental place or something like that. And it all got abandoned. And the rabbits just took over the place. And now they've got like a small resort there. And there is just an abundance of rabbits. But tourists are only encouraged to feed them like certain stuff that they can buy from the from the rabbit feeding shop as part of the hotel. They're not encouraged to give them just like, vegetation or stuff from their lunchbox or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I've heard of Rabbit Island. Yeah, that is an actual real place.
There's actually a few of these islands around the world, isn't there? Because you've got Rabbit Island, you've got Snake Island, which you can't even go to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a cat island where there's a place somewhere where there's
no,
just
no, no.
so many cats.
There's the Pig Island.
Pig Island.
Caribbean.
Yeah. So there's a few of these places with just one type of animal. Let's just play a quick little game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because we've got one more kind of story that I think a lot of people would have heard of. But let's break it up and play a fun little game before we get to the depressing stuff.
Do we have a Josh's quick game show theme music, or do we not bother with that this week? You haven't preloaded it up on your phone.
If I'd prepared, we could have done. But I feel like time has passed now, so I'll just come up with my own.
Josh's smorgasbord of animals from Japan.
So you are, my friend, going to name or try and guess Japan's top 15 sacred animals.
Okay.
In no
Rabbits
particular
and turtles.
order. Oh, hang on. I need a pen to cross it off as you do it. Hang on. Right. Rabbits, straight in. You've got one.
Turtles.
No, turtle is
what we've already discussed.
Turtle is not on the list, my friend.
Dragon.
Yes.
What else have we discussed? So let me think. Okay, let me think.
The first story, he had a certain friend, a couple of friends.
Monkey.
Yep.
Pheasant.
No pheasant.
Dog.
Yep. You've got a dog.
Okay. If we go through like the Chinese zodiac, we might get a few. Might be pig, sheep.
Oh, yeah, you've got pig. No sheep.
No cow.
No cow.
No cow. Rat.
Yes, rat is one of them.
Snake.
Yes.
Crane.
No.
Tiger.
Tiger.
Lion. No, not lion.
No. There's a couple from the zodiac, or three that you're missing.
Crab.
No.
Goat.
Yes, goat is one of them.
Cockerel.
Oh, yes, you got another one.
At
this
rooster,
point,
I suppose it would be.
You've got 5 left.
5 left. 5 animals. These are sacred animals.
Yes, this is what's considered sacred in Japan. A lot of stories about them, and
is there a type of lizard?
no, surprisingly, there actually
lizards.
isn't.
Okay.
No. I think 2 of them are still on the zodiac, if that helps.
Not really. I can't think of ox.
Oh, yes.
I said cow. I mean, how close did I have to be?
No.
Ox. Okay.
Ox and cows are so different.
Okay. So are dragons and Komodo dragons different?
I mean,
I guess Komodo's not on the list anyway, is it?
No.
So that's more Indonesia. So
and they both have dragon in the title.
they do both have what boat? No. Mantis. No.
Can I give you a clue?
I've already done crane, haven't I?
I don't trust this animal.
Eels.
No. I don't trust them.
Worms.
Either.
Fish. There's got to be a type of fish.
No, it's a mammal.
It's
a big mammal. I don't trust him.
Bear.
No.
Dog. No.
Well, you've done well.
Horse.
Oh, that's the one I don't trust. Horse.
Yes, horse. Okay, yeah, I'll give up on that. What have I got? 4 left.
You know what?
Yeah, we're running for time now.
You got 12 out of 15.
That's not bad, is it?
So the last 3, fox, deer, and cat.
Why didn't I say fox? I was going from the earlier story and I said fox when I was trying to think of dog earlier on as well.
Yeah.
What was it? Fox and what?
Fox, deer, and cat.
Oh, I should have guessed cat as well.
So 12 out of 15, that's pretty good.
12, that's not bad.
I like it.
Okay.
So now that we've got this fun game
You at home, how many did you get? Probably more than me.
So now we move on to something that is very up our street. It's a bit mysterious. We'll put out a little disclaimer there. There is going to be talk of suicide. So if you have been affected by suicide, then
stop listening now.
Yeah, you might want to tune out. But we can't mention Japan and mysteriousness and mythology without.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Go on then.
Is it at the foot of Mount Fuji?
It is.
And is it a type of forest?
It is indeed.
Then you go ahead, my friend, and introduce it.
Do you know the actual name of the forest?
I know the English version of the name.
Go on then.
The Suicide Forest.
Yes. Yeah, it's got the name Suicide Forest. And this is actually going to be the one word that I probably struggle with the most. So Okigara Forest.
Okigara, yeah.
Okigara. And it is a sea of trees at the base, just to the left of Mount Fuji. It is 12 square miles of hardened lava which absorbs sound. So there is a sense of solitude and enchantment.
It's eerily quiet there, isn't it?
Very quiet. It's also known as home of the ghosts. It's one of the world's most used suicide sites, mainly by hanging. About 75% is hanging, 25% is drug overdose.
Right.
They've now put signs at the head of the trails urging suicidal visitors to think of their families and contact Suicide Prevention Association with numbers and details and stuff.
Yeah, fair play.
And it started it got the nickname in 1960 of Suicide Forest.
Oh, was it? Okay.
With a fair few deaths, but it really started to ramp up in like the early 2000s.
I was going to say, I thought it was from like the 90s or something that it all started going on.
Yeah. So that's when it really started, I suppose, making a name for itself in a way. Like the numbers started ramping up, and in 2002 it broke the record and had 78 suicides in a year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year.
Okay, fair play.
In
Wow.
2003, it jumped up massively from 78 to 105.
Okay, yeah.
Within a year. And then it carried on inclining. So in 2010, not as bad, but there was 54 confirmed, but there was over 200 attempts at suicide where they found survivors and people,
Oh, so by this point, like the government or the officials were getting on top of it now, and they're sending out like regular search parties to scour the area and pick up any bodies or people who had failed, I guess.
Yeah. So that was 2010.
In 12 square miles of forest.
Yeah,
That's a lot of forest to get lost in, isn't there?
Yes, and I actually read somewhere as well that they have their own kind of like section of like police that will scour the forest and look for bodies and recover them and things. Some of them, if they're not familiar with the forest, they will actually have like a winch and they'll tie string or chain.
A winch. A winch.
Winch, yeah. I don't know where winch came from.
Keep an eye on me, woman. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's actually very good to be fair. Yeah, so they would have a winch so they could walk into the forest, and then all they've got to do then is just follow the string back out or whatever.
Fair play.
They've actually stopped publicising the numbers of suicides in hopes it will decrease suicides.
Yeah, not to encourage people, basically. Yeah.
And since 1970, there have actually been annual searches as part of the forest, but it wasn't until 2010 that they really ramped it up and really wanted to make a point of like, we don't want this to be Suicide Forest anymore. We just want this to be like a nice forest that is not known for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much all there is to Suicide Forest. Is that I've read some stories where people have gone out to Suicide Forest, and with the lack of sound and just how it is, we've not been there, so we don't know. But the stories I've read, people feel enchanted to go in and commit suicide. Like it's also known as an enchanting forest.
Is it something, do you think, that people go there with the intention to commit suicide, or do you think they go there just to experience it and then just sort of become overwhelmed with depression or something from the...
Funny that. I've actually read stories of both.
Yeah.
So I read one story where a man went out there to commit suicide, and he found the forest so peaceful to the point where he could hear his own heartbeat because it was that quiet.
Yeah.
And he got so distracted and focused and calm, focusing on his heartbeat, that he didn't actually end up committing suicide. He actually stopped him in his tracks and thought, what am I doing? And he actually didn't go through with it.
Fair play.
So I think it is actually just a combination of both. Maybe some people go there because there is that reputation. They know that more than likely they're not going to be found. That was another thing that kept popping up, was some people go to Suicide Forest on purpose thinking that it's 12 square miles. It's the their body isn't going to be recovered. Therefore, it's easier for their families and friends to
Yeah.
just disappear. And it's quite a dark
Yeah,
dark
it's quite a
subject,
dark
but
sort of thing.
it's very mysterious. There's a lot of mystery behind that, and the fact that there's no sound. Like there was another story I read where there was friends.
Kind of absorbs sound, doesn't it?
100%, yeah. There was a story of like a couple of friends that went out there, and they were only, not even that far into the forest. They were just on the edge because they didn't want to get lost. And again, they didn't want to commit suicide, and they were just enchanted by this forest. YouTubers have been out there just to check it out.
It has a dangerous allure, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they were less than half a mile away from each other, and they were shouting at the top of their voices, and they couldn't hear each other because the sound was just getting absorbed into the ground and into the trees.
Yeah, even just a couple of 100 yards to do that in a place like that, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, that's what I got for this week's episode on Japanese folklore. There's so much to Japanese folklore. It's so good. It's such a good subject.
It is, yeah.
So many stories.
Definitely very interesting. And that, like you said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't scratched the surface, really, have we?
Yeah. I just thought I'd go for a few stories that I found funny or interesting or quite cool.
So if there's a podcast out there that's a Japanese version of ours, reach out and maybe we'll do some, we'll come on your podcast, you'll come on ours, and we'll share some mythology.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? I don't know what mythology England has.
Oh, we've got Borley Rectory. We've got all the ones that we've done so far. We've only got one listener in Japan, so we've still got plenty to conquer over there.
Yeah, that's true. But Japan's actually the one place in the whole world that I really want to go to.
I know you did. Yeah, you said that. You said earlier.
If I won the lottery or a big sum of money, the first thing I would do is book a holiday to Japan.
And you can help Josh by doing that by joining our Patreon. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, that is the end of the episode. I guess we've got to put it to the paranormality rating. Although which one or how? How do we put this to the paranormality rating? Because that is just
how much do you like Japanese folklore? How did it make you feel? Do you feel great about it? Do you think, there were some lovely little stories in there?
I think there's definitely interesting stories. I've always been captivated by Japan. Particularly when I was younger and growing up by the martial arts side of things and the samurai and all that sort of thing, the honour.
Yes.
So they've got a very different outlook on life over there. And, particularly compared to Western culture, a much more honourable way of life. So yeah, I'm going to give them a solid 9. 9 out of 10.
I think that's fair. I absolutely love Japan, and I was a big fan of Bruce Lee growing up.
And I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And
Bruce Lee isn't Japanese.
What?
Bruce Lee isn't Japanese.
No, he was Chinese.
Yeah. Well, I still either way love Japan.
Mr. Miyagi was Japanese.
He was, yeah. It's because you said martial arts, and I thought, I did grow up with Bruce Lee, but no, he's not
a Karate
Japanese.
Kid.
Yeah, the original Karate Kid.
The original Karate Kid, yeah.
None of this Jaden
Smith
Smith
version.
rubbish.
That wasn't even karate.
Yeah, no,
How
don't
can you
even
call
get me
that
started
Karate
on
Kid?
that.
Yeah. Let's not get started on that.
Oh man, I just love Japan in general. I'm up there with you. I'm just, I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to give it a solid 9 as well.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 average. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right,
I hope I get to go one day. I really do.
Oh, you will do one day. You will do. When the podcast takes off.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll do a world tour.
Yeah. And we go
Romford.
Imagine if it did get to that point, but we still just had one listener in Japan.
They were coming all the way over to Japan for you.
Yeah. And there's one guy that's like, yes.
So look out for that, listener in Japan. You will be queuing up on your own at the venue. And we literally run out of time, so there's no call to action this week. And so until next week, I've been Pirate.
I'm Josh.
And this has been Paranormality UK. Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.